So, I hear you want to learn how to play an aggressive defense on Bind. You come to the right place. Let's check it out. So, we're going to watch some of ULF against Job Life, right? As I said, we're going to focus on their Bind defense. But in general, they won the series 2-0. It's quite clean for them, honestly. I think they're one of the favourites coming up for EMEA Ascension. Yeah, they look like a great team. So let's look at Developlant. Basically, their comp for Bind, I think, is really interesting because they bring back a little bit of an old meta with a double info initiator. And also Waylay, which is a very good agent to kind of peek and do things off these utilities, right? So on Bind, like the most important areas is obviously Showers and B-Long. Why is this? Because it's basically really long lines and is also areas that are very important to control. Like enemies cannot execute 5A short generally and 5 hookah generally. Like it's quite hard to get through to the bomb site with only that space. So having agents that help you control the other spaces is really nice, right? So yeah, we're going to see them do things like, start, for example, setups like a bit like this and really prioritize these zones. But what am I yapping for? Let's watch real rounds. Okay, so let's watch a real round, as I said. If we look at the map quickly, it's just a really basic setup from them, as I said, on the pistol round. And they're gonna show us instantly some really important utilities, right? So Fade and Sky, they actually like to combine their utils on Showers a lot, right? So you saw they put a smoke through the TP and a reveal as well, right? What's Job Life's plan though? Job Life's plan is basically to put some pressure into B and then end up on A. And to do so as well, we can quickly look at the map, but they've been playing Viper and Raze, holding short the entire time. So what happens in a few seconds when they're about to come back to A, go for their A execute, and Waylay has already pushed through all of Showers, you can see that instantly destruction starts to come, right? Job Life had a plan to, go B, come back, and they've been instantly shut down by SOP. And we can skip ahead, but basically this aggressive position gets them so much damage, and it allows them to easily convert the round in a 3v2, just play basic trades and win the game, right? There's one thing, okay, that we're never going to see in these kind of VODs. Yes, they want to play aggressive and they want to do it in their own way with their kind of slightly unique comp, but if they have a simple advantage, they're going to play that advantage together and convert the round, right? Number one most important thing in this kind of game, So let's go ahead and check out a new round. As we see, it's the exact same start from them, honestly. Nothing too crazy. And now we're going to see again how kind of playing aggressively it really helps them get advantage, right? Get information into the round. So what they do here is basically already all the important stuff has happened. Sounds crazy, but pretty much, right? So again, Waylay has played in front of the kind of potential util from Job Life, and here it's gotten Waylay a lot of info, right? SOP here. So what's happened? Starkzo has thrown a recon and he's thrown a dog into Showers, but no one took Showers, right? So we don't know exactly. Of course, you can never 100% know something, but for me, that's kind of suspicious, right? There's no reason for you to throw utility into a space and not take it unless you're trying to fake and head over to the other bomb site. So instantly, what ULF, I forgot the name of the team, realized is that probably it's coming B, right? So instantly Fade starts to rotate and Waylay swiftly follows as well, okay? And the next thing is kind of how they adapt themselves around this, okay? So ULF also do one thing great in defense where they make sure they control the right zone when they need to, right? So obviously I told you earlier, B-Long is the most important zone to control in hookah. Or sorry, B-Long is a very important zone to control, but hookah can be just as important, right? So here they want to control hookah, basically to give themselves more space, right? If Brim and Sky were playing in the bomb site right now, and Fade rotates into the bomb site, Fade is going to have nowhere to play, right? So that means like if Sky and Fade are both playing in backside and one Raze nade comes backside, two people are getting messed up by that, right? And equally, they're not really creating crossfires. So being able to play from hookah allows them to create really nice crossfires when the B execute comes in. So as we see, even though they get 2 hit by the Fade ult, they're not intimidated, they're ready to fight, right? So Fade is swinging from backside, Sky is swinging from under hookah, and Waylay even joins in with a beautiful ult all across the bomb site. And just like that, they've taken everything. Now this is something again that's kind of crazy, right? This Sky pushing. My only analysis for something like this is that sometimes in officials you really have to be crazy. We're going to see an example of this again later. But really, like doing crazy stuff, going for these kind of pushes, it's a mental game, right? Sometimes enemies are really going to get tilted where you're like, what is this guy doing in 5v2? I'm sure we all know this feeling. So honestly, respect for the Sky here. Okay, so we're here again in the very next round. We've got 2 things to look at in the kind of initial part of the round that I think are really interesting. So the first is that we can see the setup swapped a little bit. Oh, where's my mouse? The setup swapped a little bit, and for that they're still going to focus in showers, but you're going to see that they do it in a different way, right? So instead of what they did before, Sky is going to flash through showers, and Fade is going to reveal instead, and like that, it opens up the door of the TP, and Waylay goes for it, right? I'll add in a clip here to show you exactly what it looks like from a Waylay perspective. It's pretty fun, to be honest. Yeah, and then like that, we're going to go back, and we're also going to take a look at Viper here. So this might look like kind of some kind of normal smoke. This guy already threw the smoke a couple of times, though, right? So the first purpose we need to know from the smoke is basically it's anti-Viper, right? So a Viper is very popular to be played in A because it kind of counters the enemy Viper, right? You know, where they put the wall and they like to lurk. I'll show you the clip now. So basically they like to put the wall. Enemies put up the wall, you put up your smoke, and it kind of stops the lurk, right? So then they're going to put their wall down, you put your smoke down, blah, 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 right? You kind of focus all your toxin in stopping the enemy's toxin getting value. But also what the smoke does is it kind of opens gaps to push, right? So as I'm saying, if you already threw the smoke a couple of times, you can again see on my my clips here. This allows him to kind of push one side, get an isolated fight, while they don't know about the other side. So let's watch what he does. 1 second, sorry. Let's watch what he does here. He pushes through, and again catches an aggressive pick, right? So instantly like this, boom, 5 versus 3, 1 aggressive play in shower, 1 aggressive play up short. We don't need to watch the rest of the round because unfortunately sometimes being aggressive has its consequences. But you know what? They're confident and they're committed to how they want to play. So for that, like, it's really interesting and really good to analyze. No matter if it's trolling against the low buy. Yeah, but obviously it's not trolling in the end of the day because they win the map 39. Okay, so here this is going to be by far the most like interesting round to break down. Okay, this round is going to show ULF's commitment to kind of fighting, not giving the enemy space to play, right? So the first thing we should look at is their kind of setup. They decided to play 2B and 3A in late round, you know, sometimes you didn't get a pick, whatever. You just, you know, you pick one side to play free, pick one side to play 2 unbind, not something super insane, right? And the second detail to look at, you can see it already. Viper moved the smoke now to short, right? So Viper, again, really mixing it up on short, doing a lot of different things. Okay, so instantly, they know that A short execute is coming, and they're going to try and find the way to be creative and fight together. So we can already see one thing. Fade is going to show the C's on showers here from backside, and then instantly join in lamps. Okay, this is going to go really fast, so watch it. Viper's going to molly short, and with the goal of fighting to short. Sky is going to flash from back triple to be like, hey guys, I'm over here, and put pressure on them. Now the fight is going to come in, right? 2 from lamps. This is a fight that's a little bit hard to expect, but they know they need to take this fight now because otherwise Joblife are going to clear all of the front site and then start to expect lamps. So Echo, even though it's only 20 toxin, he puts down his bubble because he needs to fight, okay? Boom, he gets that first fight. He causes the distraction. At the same time, Favi and Sky, you see here on the map, he's opened his Sky ulti and he's putting his second flash. He's trying to create so much pressure so that when Fade plays, Fade can also be a bit unexpected. Unfortunately, Shin was looking and he dies. But again, still, the Viper is fighting off of this, right? Viper keeps fighting because the Seekers are coming in, right? The Joblife players are under pressure. Shin is very, like, you know, he's a good player here. He doesn't look at it. But I'm sure a normal player, they see the Seeker that close to them, they might turn around and look at the Seeker, right? And then what does he do? He keeps fighting, okay? Now, this is like, he's going to keep fighting in 4v2, seriously? But do you know why? Because he needs to keep putting pressure, and that is going to keep creating timings for the Sky, right? So the Sky put a bunch of util to create timings for Viper, and Fade a bit too. Fade also kind of created his own timing by distracting with the C's in a different zone, then repositioning. But now Viper is also creating timings for Sky, right? So it's so small, okay, this kind of turn. But you can see basically Sivov here, the raise. He, for a tiny second, let's try to watch it back again, see if we can notice it. On the map, it's very clear. But basically, even for a small second, he turns to look towards like this part of the site, right? At least like maybe more towards lamps, because that's where Viper kept pressuring from. And that small amount of time in this high pro level, it means a lot, and that's what gets Favi in this kill again. And then boom, okay, now the situation's all chill. Now they can play the numbers, right? But you can see that even in that, it was 4v2. The guy kept going, and it's honestly fundamentally not incorrect because he is creating timings and creating pressure for then his teammates to get potentially free kills off and stuff like this. And it's just really, really interesting. Honestly, I just love this kind of commitment to fighting, right? They don't give a shit about anything else, seriously. Okay, so we're jumping in here again to some kind of late round, okay? They're 4v3, they're retaking. They're not even retaking, sorry, because why? They don't let Job Life plant, okay? So Job Life tap the plant, insta boom, Fade Dog, Viper following the Fade Dog, Waylay dashing through, Fade is trying to fight a bit as well, puts a seize, Brimstone's going to put the ulti in a second, and basically, again, they're committed to their style, right? If someone wants to plant, no chance, okay? We're going to fight you for that space. And now here, we're going to pause it because we're going to see something that is so interesting and so important if you want to succeed as an aggressive team, right? So any player in the world, okay, look at the situation. What are you going to say? Okay, 3v2, Viper's low. Let's try and play together in CT. ULF, nope. They instantly take a decision, and two people are going to run behind because the bomb isn't planted yet, technically. Plus, we know probably Job Life, again, they're not going to be comfortable for the plant. They're going to assume that on the tap, ULF are going to push and going to fight them, right? So we can take a look at this from big picture, rather. But Job Life, they're waiting for that next push. But instead, ULF, they've gone against what they normally do, and they've instantly flanked. So by the time Job Life have only got the bomb down, started to get comfortable, started to be like, oh, maybe they went elbow. Job Life are already, or sorry, ULF are already behind. Brimstone's going to come from long. Fade is already coming from hookah. Like, this is the level. If you want to be a kind of aggressive team, a skill-based team where you fight the enemies no matter what, the most important thing you need is instant decision making, okay? Like, I'm not going to say that what they did is genius or not genius, okay? If Job Life had insta-planted, it probably would have got quite close. It would have got quite weird. But the point is that Job Life are hesitant, right? They're not like, can we plant? Can we not? You know, they're scared of ULF to come and fight them. So ULF take a different decision, right? And the point is that as long as it is instant, it will work, okay? Like, just doing something instant. They're like, okay, let's do this, let's do that, let's fight them, let's not fight them, let's blah, blah, blah. You know, like, it's what's absolutely required for a very, very top level team. You know, it reminds me of like Paper Rex or something. These teams that they just keep doing things, you know? And you feel like if you play against that kind of style, you can never get ahead of them, right? They're always going to be on top of you, confident, destroying you, right? It's really hard. So here, let's quickly look at the last round we're going to watch. First thing we're going to take a look at is, again, a different way that Viper uses his smoke, right? He's really not scared to, you know, they're going to, again, start showers, by the way. They're going to do some utils here, like as they have been doing, okay? But again, Viper, you can see, even against the low buy, again, you can see the kind of commitment to being aggressive, right? They really want to show in this game that we are the better team. We are not afraid of you, no matter the situation, right? So even though here Viper is fighting alone on short, and yeah, Sivov goes crazy and one taps him, right? He, you know, whatever, right? That's their commitment to their gameplay, okay? So I just think that's interesting, you know, like, you know, they don't care, really. Like, if you care that much in a ranked game, like, I'm sure all of us, you know, we will probably care much more than this guy, right? He's just playing Valorant. Simple as this. One of my coach from SK, who always says this, he's like, guys, we just need to play Valorant, you know? He's just playing Valorant straight up. He's just going for some kills, right? So yeah, let's break down the kind of precise team play as well that makes this round so beautiful, right? What are ULF in position to do right now? Okay, we take a look. It's again late timing. Okay, 32 seconds. They're executing a short, and they're going to fight them, right? If we look at Sky right now, you know, he has a pop flash. He's probably about to flash out and fight. But what he does is he makes sure he does it in the right timing, okay? Because if you just flash out randomly, you know, maybe people are anti-flash, they can punish you, blah blah blah. So what he does is here, he waits for his Brimstone to put the smoke, and as soon as the Brimstone puts the smoke, then he comes through, right? And as you can see, like, maybe it doesn't look like much, but there could have easily been someone, for example, on top of the box, anti-flash. They turn around when he flashes out. He's looking at default first, of course, and then he just gets punished, right? And the second thing as well that's so important here, it's so small, but look at Brimstone, okay? He's running through the spawn. He throws the stim beacon on the floor. Like, they are so dedicated to fighting and flooding the bomb site that Brimstone is using the stim beacon in the spawn. And what this helps him do is obviously rotate to A faster, but even rotate back to B faster, okay? And again, he shows, this Brimstone and the entire team, they show why their style is so strong, because they do not let the enemies get set up for anything, right? As we can see, like, Shen, Starkso, all of them, they're about to come through hookah and play on B, and Brimstone just arrives in their face and he says, no, okay? And, you know, we can watch what's right straight in front of us. It's insane one-taps, obviously, but this is where we have to think about, and again, he gets one more one-tap, okay? But this is where we have to really think about, why is he getting those one taps, right? It's not just aim. I swear to God, any player could have that kind of aim, and that doesn't mean they will get always those kills, right? Maybe someone else will look at the situation like, oh, they already TP'd, they're maybe holding me. Oh my God, maybe they're going to nade me in a second. Let's take my time. Let's play retake. They just have an eco, you know? blah 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 blah, whatever reason, right? But this is why these players are so high level, because they don't let the enemies take space, right? There's nothing, there's gun advantage, there's util advantage, there's so many things like this. But the most important thing sometimes is just space, right? And the kind of like mentality of, we are confident, we are going to fight you, and then how that reflects onto Job Life, right? Job Life will be thinking, bro, this Viper just pushed A short 2 times in a row against Eco, or the Sky flashed through the wall. These guys are so crazy. These guys are doing whatever. But that's the point, right? You don't want to let Job Life play their game. You don't want to let your enemies do what they want, right? So if we go again, we can kind of conclude this looking at a Valor plant. I'll pull up the same one I had from before. How do I? I'm going to delete the lines, okay? So as we saw, obviously they played some setups normally of like this, or maybe, these guys swapped as well. We saw like the Waylay coming through, the TP. There's one thing they didn't do in this VOD, but I'm sure they probably have it on the strat book that's so nice. You play lamps with the Waylay, you have the TP, and then you can go here, throw your nade, it opens the door, and you can do this kind of TP as well, right? I think Job Life, they didn't play that much around hookah, so there was probably no reason to focus on this kind of things, but maybe we'll see that from them in future games. But yeah, just in general, they really fight, and they don't let people plan ever, right? So imagine if you're a team that, for example, okay, you like to just go A, put some close smokes, try and get the bomb plant, and then you have a Brimstone yourself who likes to play the post plant lineup, something like this. Imagine if you're a team and your post plant lineup is a part of your game, you will never ever ever get to play that part of your game against ULF, right? You will only be able to play their game, which is fighting in this zone, fighting in this zone, fighting in showers, right? For this deep information, all these things. It's so crazy, and that's why I just, watching these kind of Turkish teams is really cool, and I'm really excited to see their future games, because I didn't know their level was this insane, honestly. And yeah, just being aggressive, being crazy, not respecting the traditional rules sometimes, while also being on the same page with your entire team, right? Like, I'm saying not respecting the traditional rules, because not every team plays like this. It's true, but you cannot say that they're not all on the same page, right? When Sky was here, his Brimstone is running CT with the stim beacon, putting a smoke to support. Like, the Waylay is also here, ready to fight with the Sky. It was this one round. Everything, every person in the team knows exactly how they're going to play, right? It's not like, this is why it's hard to say, like, let's copy what they do in my ranked team, Like, if you don't have that same smoke, that same other teammate fighting with you, you might die for nothing, So it's really like a full commitment to all of the team playing together that allows, the Viper to just push A short alone, or the Waylay to just peek shower, or whatever, right? And yeah, I think that's really interesting.